Khloé Kardashian ignites a discussion regarding nannies and the reasons why mothers often feel scrutinized. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Khloé Kardashian has once again stirred up an important conversation, and this time it is about something millions of mothers quietly deal with every single day but are often too afraid to admit out loud. On her podcast, she talked about what she calls nanny shame, and that simple admission opened the door for a much larger debate about motherhood, judgment, privilege, and the complicated ways we all think about help. Coming from one of the most famous and wealthy families in the world, her words naturally sparked strong reactions, but when you strip away the celebrity angle, what she shared hits close to home for many parents. The Kardashian family is used to having everything they do dissected, loved by some and mocked by others, but when Khloé sat down on her show to discuss childcare, it wasn't about glamour or gossip. It was about truth. She pointed out something that almost every mom knows deep inside, whether she is living in a mansion or a modest apartment. Raising kids is overwhelming. Doing it alone is not just difficult. In many ways, it goes against the very nature of how families were once meant to function. Communities used to gather together. Relatives stepped in to share responsibilities, neighbors leaned on one another. But in today's fast-paced, individualistic society, many parents find themselves isolated, juggling endless tasks while trying to meet expectations that are often impossible. Khloé shared that when people criticize her for having nannies, she finds it unfair and short-sighted because the truth is everyone has help in some form. She reminded listeners that help doesn't always look like a paid professional in a uniform walking through the door. Help can be a grandmother watching the kids for a few hours, a sister stepping in after school, a neighbor who babysits, or even daycare and schools. Yet, the second the help is paid, suddenly people judge. Khloé highlighted the hypocrisy in that attitude, saying openly that all mothers rely on support, even if they label it differently. Her point was simple. There is no shame in needing or accepting help. In fact, it is a blessing. Her honesty resonated because so many mothers silently struggle with the exact same guilt. They are told it takes a village to raise children, yet the moment they buy part of that village back in the form of childcare, they are painted as selfish or disconnected from their families. Society seems comfortable with the idea of unpaid labor in caregiving, but when that work is recognized as valuable enough to be compensated, the judgment comes quickly. This contradiction leaves countless moms trapped between exhaustion and criticism. They either run themselves into the ground trying to be superhuman or feel guilty for choosing rest, balance, or the ability to keep working by hiring help. Khloé admitted she has faced those harsh remarks but emphasized how she refuses to feel guilty for doing what is best for her kids and herself. She reminded her listeners that every family situation is unique. Some mothers can rely on grandparents daily, while others live far from relatives and don't have that option. Some households require both parents to work full-time to keep things afloat. Some single parents are stretched thin, carrying the entire burden alone. And in each case, finding a reliable support system, whether through relatives, friends, or hired childcare, is not indulgence, it is survival. The conversation she sparked goes far beyond celebrity circles. It touches the lives of millions of everyday mothers who have quietly heard the same passive-aggressive comments. Remarks like, "Must be nice to have that kind of help," or, "I could never let someone else raise my kids," can cut deeply. Many mothers, even when they know they are doing the right thing for their families, feel a sting of shame because of the way society has conditioned us to think about motherhood. We praise sacrifice to the point of exhaustion. We admire the image of a mother who does it all and label her a hero, but we often withhold that same admiration from a mother who acknowledges her limits and finds help. Khloé's openness also brings attention to how financial privilege changes the conversation but doesn't erase the shared experience. Of course, as one of the wealthiest women in the world, she has resources that many do not. She can hire multiple nannies, assistants, and house staff if she chooses. That reality makes some people dismiss her comments altogether, arguing she doesn't understand the struggles of the average parent. But at its core, what she is saying still reflects a universal truth. Mothers are judged for needing help, whether they can afford extensive staff or just a babysitter for a few hours a week. The scale may be different, but the shame feels the same. What makes this conversation powerful is that someone with such a huge platform is normalizing the idea of mothers not doing everything alone. When celebrities speak openly about the help they receive, it gives permission to everyday mothers to breathe, to admit their own struggles, and to recognize that asking for support is not weakness. It's an act of care for both themselves and their children. Khloé ended her reflection by reminding listeners that it really does take a village, and instead of shaming each other for how that village is built, we should embrace the fact that different families need different solutions. The reaction to her words shows just how sensitive and complicated this subject is. For some, it was refreshing to hear someone finally say what mothers whisper privately. For others, it sparked frustration, as they saw her wealth as a shield that keeps her from truly feeling the crushing pressure most families endure. But even within that tension, there is room for growth. The more openly people discuss childcare, support systems, and the unrealistic expectations placed on mothers, the closer society can move toward a healthier understanding of parenting. In the end, Khloé's message was not about flaunting privilege but about calling out judgment. She wanted people to see that mothers should not be shamed for how they choose to create balance in their lives. Whether through family members, daycare, or paid nannies, the goal is the same: raising healthy, loved, and cared for children. Instead of tearing each other down for those choices, she urged everyone to acknowledge the blessing of support in whatever form it takes. Her words echo something timeless: motherhood was never meant to be a lonely journey. The myth of the perfect mother who does it all, without complaint and without rest, is not just unrealistic, it is damaging. And perhaps the best gift women can give each other is honesty, solidarity, and freedom from shame. By speaking up, Khloé Kardashian reminded the world that help is not a weakness, it is part of the strength it takes to raise children. And that is a message worth spreading far beyond her own famous family. The conversation she sparked goes far beyond celebrity circles. It touches the lives of millions of everyday mothers who have quietly heard the same passive-aggressive comments. Remarks like, "Must be nice to have that kind of help," or, "I could never let someone else raise my kids," can cut deeply. Many mothers, even when they know they are doing the right thing for their families, feel a sting of shame because of the way society has conditioned us to think about motherhood. We praise sacrifice to the point of exhaustion. We admire the image of a mother who does it all and label her a hero, but we often withhold that same admiration from a mother who acknowledges her limits and finds help. Khloé's openness also brings attention to how financial privilege changes the conversation but doesn't erase the shared experience. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.